60 Minutes Overtime.
Wow, 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 wow.
Our story this week is on Jamie Lee Curtis, the actress of more than 40 years in Hollywood.
Carpal tunnel, but then the watch was over the carpal tunnel? That was what was so genius.
We were able to look at some of Jamie Lee Curtis's artifacts, part of the Academy collection, and they included a couple of scripts, the script from Psycho and her script from Halloween.
This is beautiful, you guys. I haven't seen this since my mom died, and I certainly haven't seen
Her mother was Janet Leigh, most well known for her role in Psycho.
Now we see the bathroom door being pushed open slowly. Shadow of woman, oh my goodness me. Sound of the shower curtain being torn aside, that clanking sound. The look of pure horror erupts in her face. She never took a shower again. She only took baths. What was shocking about it was that they killed the movie star on page 52. Once you entered the theater, there was a whole thing about what you're about to see. Don't tell anybody. Today, of course, we call it a spoiler alert, and someone would have spoiled it for people because they didn't want it getting out that the movie star was killed, not even halfway through the movie. And she was the top billing because she was the movie star, and that was the whole conceit of him hiring her.
Jamie Lee Curtis was 19 years old when she was shooting Halloween, the horror movie that was filmed in 1978, and it became a cult classic. Do you have a favorite scene?
I remember John Carpenter saying to me, I want you to be vulnerable. I really want Laurie Strode to be vulnerable. And I wasn't smart enough at 19 to understand what that meant. And I kind of thought it meant weak. And there's a scene, Laurie is babysitting on Halloween night. She calls over to her friend who's babysitting across the street.
And are you all right?
And she's being killed while Laurie's on the phone. But Laurie just thinks she's pranking her. We know that she's being killed. And then Laurie hangs up. She leaves the house. And it's intercut back and forth. Me walking toward the house and then the house. When I saw the movie in Hollywood on the opening weekend, a woman stood up in the middle of the theater during that moment and screamed out loud in the theater, "Don't go in there! There's a killer in the house!" And I understood in that second that that's what John was talking about, because they cared about this girl and she was about to walk into mayhem.
He was just a salesman.
Jamie Lee Curtis starred opposite Arnold Schwarzenegger in True Lies, directed by James Cameron. There's this great scene, memorable scene, I would say, in True Lies where she's dancing very seductively. And I guess originally the way that scene was written, she was supposed to be naked.
And I kind of said to him, you know, Jim, you're going to lose all the comedy because you're just going to be looking at my bits.
And apparently she fashioned something herself. She had a black dress and she grabbed some tool that she bought at the fabric store.
Went in the bathroom at Jim's office. I put on the black dress. I then took tulle and shoved it up into the arm and then shoved it up into there. And I walked into Jim's office. He was sitting behind the desk. And I went, here's Helen, thinking she's looking fly. This was a dress she wore to a wedding once, and people complimented her like she thought this is
the look.
Smoking. And then she looks in the mirror and realizes it's not good. She'll rip each of the arms and then the neck off. And then I said, then I'll be standing there in that, because that's what this is without the pieces. And then I unzipped my dress and let it fall to the floor, and I was wearing a pair of black panties and a bra. And I said, and then I'll be wearing this. For half the movie, I think I'm in that dress. That is actually me. That is the stunt coordinator, and that's Jim Cameron shooting.
Oh, don't tie it!
And there's the little dress, that very dress.
Little tiny dress.
To take him right now. Got to.
Mrs. Wang, hello.
no.
Jamie Lee Curtis was also in Everything Everywhere All at Once, and she played Deirdre, who's this bureaucrat from hell. Jamie Lee Curtis is completely unrecognizable as this character. I remember watching it the first time being like, is that Jamie Lee Curtis?
I'm unbridled and I'm ungirdled.
Unspanked.
And I'm unclenched. Everything you see in that movie is me. There is no padding. That is just me releasing all of the things that we've spent our entire lives holding in. Every muscle in my body just relaxed.
She said she loves those roles where she's, unclenched, and she talked about the freedom of being able to do that, where maybe in the past in Hollywood, particularly with her mother, they were expected to be perfect all the time. Jamie Lee Curtis has really embraced imperfection.
The loss of vanity means freedom. I want the freedom to be whoever it is. I was exaggerating it for Deirdre, for sure, but that's just what I look like. And I'm not trying to go for some weird, vanity award. I'm not interested in that. I'm just trying to be honest and not fake.